Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. Listen, we are talking to you guys about Married at First Sight season 17. Yes, I wasn't going to do it, but we're here now. And so we're going to talk to you guys about the latest episode 4. It was interesting. I can't lie to you. I think the couple that really intrigued me, I think her name is Clare and Cameron. Is that the correct word, Sean? Clare and Cameron, was it? Or am I mixed up the name? Not you say. Not you say you don't know either. But I think it was definitely, I know his name was Cameron, definitely, right? Because
the guy with the accent. Is that the guy with the accent?
The guy that was that didn't help her with the bags.
Yes, that's the one with the accent. Yep, that's Cameron.
Okay, yeah, Cameron. I think it's Cameron and Claire. I think it is. They were the intriguing couple for me on this episode because I was like, hold on a minute. This girl was asking him to carry the bags, and yet she was confusing me because she wanted to be independent, not independent, but independent. And I said, oh my God, she's going to confuse this poor lad. And he too also is somebody who doesn't even do emotions very well. So we're going to be in the doo-doo together, okay? But there's a couple more couples as well to speak about, but we'll do that on the show tonight. We're going to be here for an hour or so. I feel probably maybe a little bit less. It depends how quick we go for each couple. But make sure if you guys are new to the channel, like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because streets out there are hot. Let's get into this. I don't waste much time. Let's have some conversation. Someone said get them connecting bids. I'm assuming they mean the black woman and the white guy. But anyway, let's get into this first and foremost. Who do you want to talk about first, bro?
They talking about us.
Oh, us. They mean us. Oh, okay. I thought they meant the couple. My bad.
No.
I thought they meant the couple because I thought there was two bids in the same thing. But okay, all right, cool. So let's talk about, is it Lauren and what's his name? Lauren and their names be going.
The Native American guy or the indigenous guy. That's it.
Yes. Lauren and the indigenous
Orion.
Guy.
Is it Orion?
Orion. That's it. Star sign. Yes, talk to me. So Sean, listen, I'm bad at names. Because I'm even worse with the names. I'm gonna call them something else next week. But we had Lauren and Orion, their situation. They looked really cute. They were connecting. They had the bonnets together, you know. I think they shared a little kiss in the bed, it looked like as well. So I was like, okay, it looks like this could be doing some bits. You know, I know they're both kind of like effeminate. Well, let me say he's more feminine. They flow. Let me just say that they like to flow between energies, between masculine and feminine. They don't like to be tied down to any particular energy. Although I see quite a lot of feminine energy from both of them. I'm honest with you. Okay. But what was your perspective, Sean, of this couple, Lauren and Orion, for you?
Yeah, they're the conundrums of the couple for me. But you know, look, I think as long as they can be Take Me As I Am, as long as they can sing that song all throughout the whole season, I think we're gonna be good. But I sense an explosion coming soon because nobody got a specific, you know, I know we hate to talk about traditional gender roles and people falling into their places, and it's not to say that. Let me just stop before I go completely on the toxic train, right? It's not to say that everybody's like, oh, beating their chest all day long as a man and women are just running around, you know, floating. But I just think they're going to clash because when I saw those two go to bed with the bonnets on, I'm like, this is shambolics. Don't send me to bed with with your bonnet, okay? Although I ain't got nothing to put up underneath the bonnet, but still, even if I did, in my day when I have my waves, I'm not putting on no bonnet with you and going to bed.
And you know, it's funny because I think you're actually right? Because I remember watching a part of the episode a couple of episodes back when they were on a wedding. One of the things that she mentioned, which was really important, was her need to feel safe. And I was wondering if that's going to play a role in the relationship later on, where she may not be aware that the masculine energy. Let me be careful how I said, but no, I'm not. I'm gonna say how it is. The masculine energy she's gonna need to make her feel safe, right, may not be found in this gentleman here. Right, you may be finding yourself trying to make him feel safe, all right, because you know what happens when women end up in relationships where they're not being taken care of. They end up trying to take care of the other person to try and be taken care of. You know what I mean? So they try to fill in the role of the other person in order to get their needs met. I think that's what you're talking about in terms of explosion that may happen, because where she may take on the more masculine energy role in this relationship, and it may lead them to a place they don't want to be led to. So just that little thing that could come out about them as well.
Yeah, you know, they kind of remind me of an Alexis and oh
Justin,
yeah, they remind me of them very much so. Um, and I just you know,
you can say it.
because she's gonna need some strength, because Lauren got stuff to her, and I think his softness is gonna bump up against her roughness, and just like they showed a little clip, and she was like, "Well, I think it was a good conversation," and he said, "Well, I don't." Well, I don't. So
let's redirect that.
exactly. So I just don't know. I think it's great. And you know, Maths tries to do this. Oh, well, he dated a man once and got a kiss, and she's sexually, you know, considers herself. I think she says she's bisexual, but has a preference towards men. Um,
And why
so
is
they
that?
just kind of, huh? What'd you say now?
I said, and why is that?
What do you mean? Why is a crooked letter? I don't know. Don't ask me.
I thought you had the answer, Sway.
No, Sway, I ain't got them answers. That's what gets her motor going, you know. So hey, she like a little bit of both, but she, you know, her engine revs a little longer and stronger for the men. So that's what she says to us. So we're gonna have to take it like she gives it to us, right? And he kissed a guy one time and didn't like it. That's what he's telling us to.
I think she's looking for a little masculine energy and she might not find it missing. I honestly think she likes men because she's looking for that masculine energy. She's looking for that safety, looking for that cover, looking for that protection that usually comes with a strong masculine presence. And she ain't gonna, it feels like she ain't gonna get it from this guy. Okay. They're gonna be an emotional bag in this relationship, it feels like. Just saying.
And you know one thing. Listen, and they say this, like they say that a lot of times, women look for their father in the men that they choose. And Daddy was strong. Daddy was giving it to him straight, no chaser. You know, Orion called himself, you know, being, you know, I guess traditional and asking for the father's, you know, asking for her hand and his blessing. He said, "Y'all already married. This process is already from the boot. It's not traditional. You don't need my blessing." And Orion was like, "Yeah, I was, you know, I still would like for you to be blessed." He's like, "Well, that will come in time, sir." That is tough.
You ain't gonna get my thing for free.
Exactly.
Okay.
He was like, "Looking at what I see now, it's a no for me, big dog. But carry on." Seeing what I see with these dangly earrings, bro, it's a no for me, big dog. But you know, we'll see. Maybe you'll surprise me.
Yo, almost choked. Yeah, that wasn't playing. He said, "Listen, look here." Yeah, you're actually right. What he said there was perfect, though. Like, you know, you're asking for my blessing, trying to do the traditional stuff, but you really done it. You really done go and got married untraditionally, so you don't really need me to bless the situation. And if I say I don't like it, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? And I think what's going to happen. See, when men sit in their feminine energy, I'm gonna say this. When men sit in their feminine energy, it usually is a wounded man. I just want to be very clear. I want to make it clear. When I'm talking about, I'm not saying that you can't be in your feminine at all. What I'm saying is when men sit predominantly in their feminine energy, it is a wound. That is why we're sitting in our feminine energy. And what that means is I'm going to be easily offended by anything that happens. And I feel like because her dad is quite direct, she's going to pick up on her dad's energy the same way, and it's going to translate in a relationship. And usually those energies that are opposite tend to complement each other, and they tend to find each other. So now her directness versus his easily offended is about to connect. And that's probably where the waves on the madness are going to kick off, because she's going to be very direct about certain things, and it's going to be tough battle to find him finding more masculine energy and her finding more of her feminine energy and actually making it work in the relationship. And that's going to be a hard balance to bring to the table. So yeah, I think that's what probably we're going to see some interesting things in the next few weeks with this particular couple.
Yeah, and old boy Orion's got a lot to him because I don't know if you remember from the previous episodes, he's running around talking about he done hurt a couple of women with his male member.
Oh yeah, he said about how his member's big.
You know, I'm like, bro, pick a lane, dude. I just need you to stop all that talking, bro. People do all that talking and talking about what you got and this and that. And again, old boy Justin tried to have that similar kind of conversation. And we see where that went.
When you're trying to prove your masculinity, when you're overly trying to prove your masculinity, you tend to rely on those external things like I got a big penis, and it really is just a show off. Right, but it's not a true masculine presence, so that's why you're having to bask in the glory of your penile size. Look, he needed not to mention it, but he wanted to mention it. He wanted to boast in front of the boys. Let's just be honest about it. And I'll be honest with you as well. I'll be quite frank as well. I think what's also quite keen about this is that the financial stuff. I'm waiting for the ladies to get on to him because you know what? It didn't sound too comfortable. I'm waiting for the Dusty narrative because y'all be quick on a black brother who was and ahhing about his answers about what kind of steady paycheck he might or might not have. I'm waiting for the D word to come out, and I'm not talking about his girth. I'm talking about his bank account. Okay? Yeah, I'm looking for that. All right.
I almost forgot about that dust because he's got a dust storm kicking around with him. Living in his mama's basement, They done told me to get out of my mama's basement, and I ain't been in my mama's basement. And he is literally inside of his mama's basement. And they got the nerve to talk about he's upset and he don't like a matriarchal society, and that's what he's growing up in. Bro, you are all over the
place. As the dust settles, baby, the dust settles.
That dust is just all over the place.
It's gonna make me do a lot of this.
Allergy
yeah. Shit.
Oh, wait till you get the narrative. No, he's got money from the Indigenious Fund. That's what they're gonna say. He got reparations from the Indigenious Fund coming his way.
It's gonna say he got money loaded and waited in the generations. But what about the next couple I want to talk about is I don't know their name, but the girl that's always in pain. I'm trying to make what's her name,
bro.
I'm
trying not to get us both canceled when we talk about her, but I got some opinions about that.
I don't know the name. Audience members, if you can tell the name, the girl that's in pain, I do apologize. She goes endometriosis, I think she has
endometriosis, but Kojo, don't
endometriosis.
Don't be saying that. Kojo, you gotta cut it out. We just redeemed ourselves from Ashley, so please don't be talking. He has a disorder. Just as she has a disorder, please.
I can't remember. I just remember this. I just remember endometriosis. Okay. Okay. So
AKA told us.
Okay, so what's it? Becca and Austin, fantastic. Thank you, Becca and Austin. Yeah. So talk to me, Sean. What's your thoughts on Becca and Austin? That situation is like
Listen, Seaway
it's not
didn't watch
easy.
the episode. We tried to get Jay up here, so y'all just gonna get us cutting up. So just get
We're
ready.
gonna you gonna get this every week, guys. At this point, you better get used to it. Sit tight.
That's it. They're gonna be complaining. Y'all are toxic. Toxic masculinity.
Every Thursday, you're gonna get us. It's a late night show. You better get used to it.
They're gonna be lighting us up in the comments. Where's the balance? We need the ladies. Look.
Well, they didn't come up.
Prepare to be sick of me. And Seaway said, "Get used to us, cause she ain't getting down." So yeah, what did I think about her? Look, I'm sorry. I think she should have set this cycle out. I'm sorry.
Wait. Why?
Bro, she got a lot the hell going on. She got way too many struggles. She could have at least sat the cycle out and maybe come for the next season or something. Because sis came fresh off of surgery, a major surgery in her nether regions, and you want to come, and I mean, thank God the brother has the patience of Job, but ain't but so much one person could take. Because she laid up in that bed, and he was like, huh? What? And then she hit him with a something else. She said, so she has something else going on. And listen,
she mentioned about 3 different things.
I too, we know my story. I was diagnosed with colon cancer this year. So I understand, but I wouldn't sign up for maths. I wouldn't sign up for Ready to Love until I'm at a different place in my journey. That's a lot for somebody to take on in any marriage, let alone you're meeting somebody for the first time. It's like, that's a lot to hit somebody with. And then imagine if he had the wrong reaction. Now this is in front of the whole world to see. Because it couldn't be me. I would be pulling the mics off and be like, come with me in the bathroom. Let's turn on the shower. And we're going to have a real conversation, because what really is going on, sis? Because all of these things are super impactful. Now, I think too, you should be able to say yes to that going into a marriage, but knowing that person is dealing with that
pain daily,
and that amount of pain, she has to get shots. It is impacting her ability to reproduce. And I don't want to spite her a love, but to put that on somebody that's meeting you for the first time, I think that's a lot. I think it's a little one-sided and slightly selfish, to be honest.
No, I can't lie to you. I hate you. I hate you.
But I think, skip past that, because it had to be said, and I'm sorry. And I too, listen, I'm speaking from somebody that had something that could have taken my life, right?
Yeah.
So I do understand that aspect of it, but I also know that you just have to be very cautious how you put people, in a position to have to deal with the things that you're going through.
That's true.
So nevertheless, they do seem to have a lot in common. So on the upside, they have a lot in common. They seem to be mirroring each other. They have a very good connection. I think they're getting along. What is that expression? They're getting along like two things on fire. Like, like they're really seeming to have all the connections. They laid in the bed. It was really nice. And they just, were kissing each other and cuddling. Lots of chemistry. So I think they have all the makings of a good thing. But yeah.
Yeah, the show did Austin dirty, first and foremost. Number two, yeah, you're right. I think I understand that she wanted to find love, but I guess putting someone in a blind situation and getting married into something like that is also quite wild as well. I want to be honest with you, it's one thing obviously choosing that, it's another thing having to be dumped with that and then having to deal with it as well. Now knowing it's a marriage as well. And you're right. there could have been a different reaction from him, and maybe he's even putting it on. We don't know, but I couldn't necessarily deal with it knowing that the person's in pain every day. You know what I mean? The person's in pain every single day, and so like you're telling me that when you look at me, you're in pain. I don't know if I could do it. I just sensory overload. I'd just be too much for me. So to be thrown into that in a marriage, and I get it, till death do us part. But what wasn't mentioned is if you're sick, ready before we even jump into the situation. And I don't know, this is political, but I guess obviously then, also the accountability on Austin, you sign up for a show like this, they can put you in this potentially. But I just can't imagine this could be someone's life already so early in the marriage. You know what I mean? Like, how is he supposed to fully enjoy things? Because I'm sure his mind's going to always be thinking, what is, or how is she going to be? How is she? Whatever. Someone said he might have a delayed reaction. I think so. I think he will do. I think once he realizes, he starts doing injections, once he starts seeing that there are days where she's not great, because she mentioned about 3 or 4 different illnesses. It's not just one, so this is a lot of things that are going on with old girl's body. Like, it's not a joke. And I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve love. She absolutely does. I'm just saying that it's a lot for someone to take on, Yeah. Someone said he might drop her off and never return. Any other thoughts, Sean, to that? No.
Listen, I'm going to say it again, and thank you, Jennifer. The expression is they're getting along like a house on fire. So let's just see, because I will say this, and we talked this is a point that I brought up when we were talking about the disillusion of Jeannie Mai and Jeezy's marriage. The story that you tell during your marriage is very important, right? And that foundational story is what can help you weather the times. I'm a firm believer in that. So if their story is built on this connection, their story is built on his empathy, and him seeming to have a genuine care for her, and a willingness to embrace the challenges that come along with the illnesses that she has. If that's the story they're going to tell, then I think, they can stand the test of time. But the story is still forming. I think they have some nice pieces because they do seem to really have a lot of commonalities, So if there was a couple on maths to deal with it, it would only be them, because Cameron and the other young girl if you threw that in the mix, it would be a mausoleum.
A mausoleum, indeed. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next couple. I really don't have any names of these couples. I called them certain names. That's why. But Emily and Brandon. Emily and Brandon. Their situation. Okay, Emily and Brandon. They seem to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Emily and Brandon.
They're gonna be cool until they're not. Old girl ain't never had no relationships.
That's true.
And meanwhile, she's like, she can't even keep. I mean, we like information because information helps us. Knowledge is power. But he went and told the parents when he was sitting with the parents. Yeah, I guess we can work through it. Especially since it seems like she's only had a bunch of hookups. I'm like, ooh,
ooh, that word in a bit raw.
Brendan, please do better.
You sound a little British right now, sir. A bit manners for us, but that is not the way you put it.
Woo! That was rough to hear. But look, it seems like they like each other. They definitely have a lot of chemistry, which I think which I think is good. I liked her energy when she allowed him to unbutton her dress, right? She was like, listen, I ain't got no drawers under here. It was like, well, go ahead, you my husband now. Go ahead and unbutton.
You can see all the glories of God.
You can see my future. So I did like her. She has a very lighthearted energy, which I think is really good. But I think, was it her? I'm a little concerned because I think she was the one where her friends just would not take their foot off her neck. if there was a group of friends that was holding her accountable, I think they were just very concerned about her and how's it going to work and her personality and all these other things. So I think that's gonna come out, and then yeah, that's right. Thank you, Jennifer. He is from New York. Us New Yorkers, we can be a little bit abrasive. So it's
A
gonna
little
be
bit.
interesting. just a wee bit.
You better F around and find out.
Exactly.
Listen, I'm gonna say this straight. I actually, it's funny because I actually didn't watch all the episodes, but I picked up on certain things when I watched one or two of them. Emily's background, the friends were letting her know that, baby, you are picky as heck. Okay, she is picky and she's a little bit, has some ways about her already. Now, what's interesting is when he went to the family, he started talking about work and how it's going to play out because she's a workaholic. And he said, listen, if she doesn't come home for a few, if she doesn't work late a few days and she messages me and says, yeah, cool. But if it's a regular thing, yeah, we're going to have a problem. And I said, yeah, you are going to have a problem because she's a workaholic. She's going to be working late and she's going to be texting you saying, babe, I can't make it again. So I'm seeing some fireworks are going to happen there, I think, because I don't see her easily bending. I see that she's somebody she's career driven, as she said, still wants to be a stay-at-home mom. But she still wants to be able to have a little bit of a career as well, she said. So she still wants to have a career, but wants to be a little bit of a stay-at-home mom as well. And that's the situation that happened. Now, I think her stubbornness is going to meet his temper because the parents like, yeah, he got a little bit of a temper. Okay, he got a little bit of a temper. And he is someone who may get a little bit grumpy and in a little bit of a mood, and he'll tell you what he feels. All right, and so that may be a problem because this is a first relationship. She doesn't know what to expect. It can be taken in a particular way that can be very hurtful. And so he has to be very careful what he says because she ain't never been here before. You know what I mean? So that's the thing he has to be very, very careful of. They said they're both independent and perfectionists as well. That was what the mum actually brought up and said these two are very independent and they have a perfection. They're all about perfection. So they've got to be very careful because that doesn't play very well in a relationship. And I love that point because I think it's on the money. Just because you're both independent and perfectionist doesn't mean the relationship's going to work either. And then I think the final part I want to say is, yes. He didn't inspire me with his answer about conflict resolution. They asked him about conflict resolution, and the boy said something. I mean, he pretty much repeated back the question to the questioner. Like he did not come with an answer, and I said, "Yeah, he gonna struggle with the conflict resolution because he has no clue what you just said. They're gonna be fighting until the cows come home. I can see this one going left easily, quickly."
Yeah, because that's the biggest thing. And if they have two very similar conflict styles, yeah, then I think they're gonna also bump up against each other as well. He has a temper, and she's go 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 go, and has limited patience. So those two things don't usually work together in my book, But I think sometimes people think because that's you have sexual chemistry that's gonna make for a long-lasting relationship, and as important as sex is in a relationship and in a marriage, it's not everything, and it can't take you through the test of time. So I'm hoping that they can build beyond the chemistry that they have and really try to figure out things, but she's really starting from zero. So he's already kind of at a disadvantage when it comes to her because she doesn't necessarily have a baseline. And then to expect that she's just going to morph into this bride and wife, she's so excited. I think she's excited of the notion of being a wife, but of what it really means, because she said that a couple of times. Oh, I can't believe I'm looking at my husband and all this other stuff. Those things are great to feel, but you're going to need the stick-to-itiveness, and you're going to need to ability to work through things, to really carry you through and truly, stand in a marriage. So those are probably some of my concerns. And then her delulu-ness, I'd rather you be like, I don't want to stay at home, right? I do want to have kids, but I'm only going to stay home a few months. But don't sell me a dream that we both know is never going to happen. Like, if you are a hard worker, it's hard for me to imagine that you're going to just pivot to a 180. Can it happen? Anything can happen, right? I can walk out tomorrow and play the lottery, and I could technically win. Yes, I could. But what are the odds? And I just don't see the odds of her just doing all these things which are brand new to her, outside of her norms. She's just going to boom, flick a switch and just do it. It sounds a little like Delulu to me.
You ain't telling no lies, bro. You ain't telling no lies. Then obviously the final couple was Claire and Cameron, because the other couple, obviously the other guy got left at the altar. So, Claire and Cameron, listen, personally, I think, Cameron has a point. Claire has no clue what she wants. Okay, she wants the independence, but she wants to be loved up at the same time. Baby, make a choice, Claire. What's your thoughts, Sean?
I mean, I get what she's saying. And I think both of them she lives in her head. And when people live in their head too much, it's good to be analytical. It's good to, kind of be someone that works through and process things. But when you live in that, excuse me, when you live in that space too much, it makes it very difficult for you to now join and be with somebody else, because you're so used to being in your head, and you're in your head all the time. So you get how all those pieces come together. But when it's expressed out to somebody else, it's very hard for them to see that, especially somebody that's getting to know you for the first time. So it's like we've got this push and pull, like you want affection, but then you don't want affection. But there's a part of me that understands what she was saying. And I think, what she was saying is like, I want to be affirmed, and I want to feel safe, and I want to feel comfortable before you just start touching me. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be affirmed. I want to feel safe. I want it to feel natural. But it's not that I don't want you to, I want there to be some romance to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think she's not opposed to the romance. But again, she was living in her head so much, because that same night, funny enough, when they went to bed, they were both having the same thought. We heard in their confessionals, they were wondering if each other were attracted to them, and kind of thinking like,
yes,
not. But they kind of both were. So they were just living in their heads too much. But then our boy Cameron, and I don't know if it's his accent, but he comes off a little snide and a little dismissive, because when she made a comment like, "Oh, do you want me to stop talking?" or something, and he was like, "Yes."
Yes.
So
he was in the bed.
Yes.
He was like, "The moment you stop talking is the moment I sleep."
Exactly. He was like, time. Do it.
You see the time.
You're done.
ma'am.
You're done. So, hey, look, he might have blocked her blessing. And I think it's like that. It's that first night. So I think he missed his chance. Like, sometimes you miss your chance in that first time to just lay and like talk to each other for a little bit. Talk to each other till you fall asleep. That's the time to do that, right? I'm sitting, we're looking at each other eye to eye. It's such a good thing. I mean, that was one of the most, fun moments that I can remember, right after I got married, and we just, my ex-wife and we just looked at each other and we talked for a little bit. Well, we did some other things, because, things that need to be done. Rightfully this time, ordained by God,
Come on.
But not that they were at that level, but at least to look and have that intimacy, right, and talk and say, that could be his chance to, because I think certain things I don't want to say like men should be mind readers. I don't ascribe to that belief like we need to know everything, but there's certain things that you should just know. Like, you know, from experience that 9 times out of 10, a woman is going to want to be romanced by you, especially if you are her husband, right? Some level of compliments, you know. So he could have looked across at her and it's like, you know what? I usually do like quiet, but this is our first night. I would just love to talk, right? And, you know, you're looking so pretty there. You know, I love you looking natural like this. Whatever his commentary could be, some compliment to her, right? And just talk to her and look in her eyes and have a conversation. You know, and I think he missed the mark with that. And then he was rude as hell with the luggage, bro. I thought that was rude. I mean, come on, yes, is she an independent woman? But what man doesn't know when a woman is struggling with all that big luggage that you can offer to help? Let her tell you no. Don't be so, it's like you're too much in your head. It's too soon. You don't have enough information yet to just, you know, just kind of be a little gentlemanly to her.
I mean, listen, I hear you. I want to give the opposite side of things. I definitely feel like they definitely, both of them live in their heads. I definitely do. I think they're both trying to protect themselves from being hurt, right? And it's giving, you know, he's not very good with emotions. If you noticed, he said about how I think his mother or grandmother, whoever looked after him, I think it was his grandparents, because obviously he lived with a foster family or whatever, wasn't it? His friends became his family, but you know, whoever was looking after him beforehand, he said he never got told I love you, but he says I show love through physical means, right? So that means anything physical that you reject me, right, is you telling me you don't like me. That's what it's going to mean for him, right? So, you know, because we've taken out the verbal aspect of things. That means anything physical is now going. If he touches her and she says don't touch me, it's going to be read as a rejection. It's not going to be read as oh, it's not for now. It's going to be read as you don't like me. And at that point, that's pain, that's wounds, that's me going, okay, cool. I don't want to do anything that's going to cause me any more pain. So I'm going to separate myself and do the very thing which has got him in, which is going to get the relationship to break down, which is he's going to start distancing himself, right? So there's going to the truth of the matter is when she asked him, "Are you okay?" He didn't say he wasn't okay. He said he was good. Instead of telling the truth, he was not happy. Where they're going to have issues is if he doesn't know how to communicate, he's going to do stuff that's going to cause him to start separating from her. He's going to start pulling away from her because anytime she affects him or hurts him, he's not going to be able to voice out effectively that he's been hurt by it. So what do? You move away physically. So everything that should be said verbally, he's going to end up doing physically in his behaviors. And then obviously as well, listening to her, she was overly calculated about and this is probably, she also needs to be aware of this as well. It's not everything that you calculate in your head you say out loud. You know, the moment you said about we don't find each other attractive is the moment she put one nail in the coffin. She got to be careful because a few more, he's out. Promise you, he done. He ain't coming back, right? This is one nail that was not coming. When she said that, you know, we're not attracted to each other, I was like, baby, why do you have to say it? You know, why did you have to say it? This is not the time to now come with open quips. Keep quiet. Okay? All right? So I was like, keep quiet. Let it rest. You know what I mean? But you went and said it. And you saw his face when she said it, right? Because, of course, he was trying to understand. He was trying to figure out because I think he finds her attractive, but he wasn't sure if she was attracted to him. Because remember earlier on he was saying, you know what, she's giving me no sexual energy. And I was like, well, bro, communication isn't, I mean, when I say communication, and when I say is that the only way of communicating isn't just sexual. It's not just through physical touch. You're going to have to learn that quickly, that verbalization is also needed. You're going to need to communicate with your mouth, right? And I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about verbally. So that's also important as well, right? And so when I saw the luggage situation, I didn't get to see the luggage situation all the way. I think I saw it towards the end when she said, "Why couldn't you help with my luggage?" And he was like, "Well, you know, you said you were independent." So, and then that's when I realized, okay, if you hurt him and you cut him, he's not gonna let it go. You're gonna have to try and reel him back in because he's not gonna let it go, right? So the moment he felt offended, right? The moment he felt offended, he started doing things. He started walking ahead of her. He started not wanting to help with the luggage. And it's because he's been hurt, right? And he's been hurt by her. He's going to be very sensitive. So any amount of shots coming his way, if she doesn't be careful and know how it's going to land, he will leave you in a desert dry without no water and quickly and feel no way about it because he's been cut and he's been hurt by her actions, right? Or someone's actions. So gotta be aware of that as well. And then I think that conversation towards the end when she was like, I am independent, but I want to be, I want to be loved, I want to be taken care of, I want to be appreciated, I want to be loved upon. Da, 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 da. I was like, well, ma'am, I'm gonna need you not just to say it, but your behavior has to show it, right? Because if you have any body language that says I'm independent and I don't need you, then he's gonna read that and he's also gonna respond accordingly to that energy too. So if you definitely want it, you gotta show some body language towards that you actually want it. If not, my friend, this guy is very black and white. If you play with him, he will let you know the white. Simple. Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think like the mistake that she made, and I think sometimes this happens, is because people say, "Oh, I'm a good communicator," right? We hear this, sometimes we even hear this from folks on the
That's
channel
true.
or people that pop in. Oh, they feel like they're a good communicator because they talk a lot, because they're very vocal. That doesn't make you a good communicator, because communication is a two-way interaction, right? It's me being able to express myself, but not just express it, but express it in a way that the person on the receiver understands, right? And they connect with what I'm saying. That's communication, because we've all been in conversations with a person that just talks, right? And then they don't listen. That person is not a good communicator because they don't leave room for the other person, and they don't check in to make sure the other person understands, and they don't pace themselves. And I think in that last scene that we saw with the two of them, she didn't pace herself. She was just hitting him with a lot of information. And it was like his mind was trying to process it. And then he was catching some strays and getting offended because he was like, how are we going to do? She said something and she was like, we haven't even held hands yet. And he was like, wait. Like, what do you like? Do you want to hold hands? Like, what are you trying to tell me? And I think that she should have just stopped there. She should have just stopped there and said, like, this is your moment. When he's confused, don't keep pushing forward. Say yes. Actually, yes. Because that's simple. Let me hold your hand right now. Yes, I would love it if you held my hand. Actually, do you mind if I hold your hand? Like, yes, I would love it for us to do that. And then take our time slowly but surely building our connection with each other. And that's it. Like, conversation done for right now. You two just met 24 to 48 hours ago. You can't just keep bang, 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 because he's just going to be processing and then hitting you with his sarcasm. And I think that sarcasm is kind of like his passive aggressive way of dealing with the things that he's hearing that are offensive to him, right? So then he's going to play the game of what? Well, you just said don't touch you. Well, we all know there's nuances to life, right?
Of course.
So we know there's nuances. So, but because he's still hurt, he's like, yeah, I'm easy on you. I'm not going to take the risk and put myself out there to be rejected by you. And I think for the person that, especially as the woman, because you heard him say, he was like, I can't be in a situation where with a woman who kind of goes back and forth, because now I could be in trouble, right?
Yep, I agree.
I'm paraphrasing, but that was the context he was building. And that's a real thing. So I think it was up to her in that moment to realize what she's saying, hear what he's saying, and just kind of say, you know what, let me take the ice off, because he's clearly made inroads to try to touch. I do want some touch. Let me move forward. Let me move forward. I would love a hug right now. Hugs are the best thing. You know what? I think we're starting to get off to a rocky start. Let's just hug. Can I have a hug? Would you mind? Like, I think people just get so caught up, and that's when you get in your head so often, you forget there's somebody else that's on the other end of you that has their own lived experiences, that is hearing what you're saying and can too be offended by what you're saying. So if you really want to get to a positive place, you also have to share some vulnerability.
No, 100%, bro. I think with them, them importantly, they're gonna need to converse and really communicate. And I think the ball is now on her court to now initiate physical touch, because, like we said, we can't risk it in this 2023. You can't risk it like that and get it wrong. On national television, you go and touch you and you shouldn't have touched her. No. he needs to be absolutely 100% sure, and the only way he can do that is if she starts to lead the interaction. So she's gonna have to lead the interaction when it comes to physical touch, to let him know that it's gonna be okay. I do also understand her point of view, which is that you want to feel safe as well. But the reality of the situation is he can't just come out and override what you said, because he doesn't know you that well. He doesn't know your signals that way. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know who you are like that. So I have to be precautionary in the way I move, because I don't want to do something that I shouldn't do or affect you in a particular way that I shouldn't affect you because I didn't read the signs very well. You know what I mean? So I think that's a really important point as well for them as a couple. And I just think to myself, with him, he is going, the difficulty that we might face with him is that he might end up punishing her when he gets hurt, right? By silent treatment, or by separating himself, or by dissing himself. He might get that, that particular treatment, give that treatment to her.
And I didn't even realize this, but they were saying in the comments that she's a therapist. So she really should be handling this situation a lot differently, Not to say that, just because you're a therapist, you've mastered how to deal with your own relationships, but you should have a level of self-awareness at the very least, and tools on how to, navigate difficult conversations better.
That's probably why she's in her head, because she is a psychologist. She's going to be thinking about all the different ways. And that's probably why she's in her head, because she's thinking about all the different options, from her background position, So I can understand why she might, not be so, great at necessarily questioning or asking for information, because sometimes, even though that's your job, baby, when you get into a situation yourself, you realize it's not so easy. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can understand. Sometimes you have that degree and you got your psychology, whatever, but it won't save you. It don't save you. You know what I mean?
But I think Cameron is going to be good fodder for comedy, because when she was like, and she looked so flustered. She looked like stressed to like nobody's business. Her hair was standing on the end, and she seems to be a small in stature woman too. And she was like, you saw me struggling with all this luggage. And he was like, you're independent, aren't you?
That's what you wanted. That's what you get.
Where's the independence now? Where's it now?
I thought you wanted to do things on your own.
Exactly. What would you do if I wasn't here?
That's where she started stumbling. She started stumbling with her words. She wasn't sure what to say at that point, and she had to pull out something out of the bag. That's not what I meant. Well, listen, darling, you told me you were independent, so I left you to it. What more do you want me to do?
He said, I was told it's offensive for men to assume that women need help. That women help us. I said,
he said,
brother,
you ain't gonna get me. You ain't gonna get me.
He hit her with the 1-2 combo. He was like, you modern, right? You modern, right?
He says you got this, right?
We equal.
You better. And he actually did say equal as well. So he said you better handle yours. But she was like, no, but it's nice if you. Yeah, but I know what's nice, but I'm saying you said that you want us to go equal stuff. All right. Nah, he didn't do anything. So it's hilarious that he brought that up. Do you know what I mean? And just let her know about the fact that she's independent. I mean, listen, I think people want independent people, but they want interdependent people. You know what I mean? I want you to stand on your own 2 feet, but I don't want you to be independent from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to be stand on your own 2 feet, but don't necessarily be separate from me. Like you don't need my help ever. And that's where interdependence comes in rather than independence. So, maybe he should be careful what he asks for with the judges in terms of being independent and be more specific. But yeah, I definitely see that, he left her to devices and try to teach her a little lesson. You know what I mean?
He got the petty spirit in him. He definitely.
Very much petty. Because that was petty. That was no need. But he said, "You want to face
too? Not even a smirk, like, hey, I'm just, joshing you a little
playing
bit.
with you." He said, "No. I'm being deadly serious." Yeah. Except I'm deadly serious. Like, you said you're independent, so handle yourself. But yeah, that's that. Obviously the gentleman that was left at the altar, he again had one last conversation with the group. They were like, saying, how great he was, because he answered the question and said, you know what, she doesn't owe me an apology. She damn well does owe me an apology. Okay, all right. You saw me go through the process, and you saw me when you saw me, and I understand it. And I totally understand it, but you still owe me an apology. Okay, because I've been left at the altar. But what's your thoughts to this gentleman? What's his name? I forgot his name again. He looks like a Ryan 2.0.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah, they look like they're cut from the same cloth. So
yeah, I was like,
he's gonna be problematic because anybody positioning themselves as a martyr when you know how embarrassing and hurt your feelings were, that wound is so raw, and you're gonna sit up here and say she doesn't owe me anything, bro. She looked at your face and she said, I can't do it. Michael. Okay, someone said his name is Michael. So, like, bro, just own it. Just be like, you don't have to hate her, but you could be like, I'm really upset and I wish that she wouldn't have come through to the process if she wasn't going to be willing to accept, marrying anybody. She shouldn't have gone through it. So, yeah, I think he's just little too willing to be, to die on the hill. And that sets him up to be a people pleaser.
yep.
And I don't think that bodes well in a relationship because people pleasers have a very high threshold, but once that threshold is broken, the dam is unleashed and it's a river. It's a river rushing, and you're going to have to deal with all that comes from that. No, I know he was upset, but when they asked him how he felt about her, he released her from he absolved her. Just the same way y'all wanted Kojo to have all this verve and fire towards Jeezy. He had none towards her, and he was literally jilted at the altar 24 hours ago. I think if that was any one of us, we would rightfully so be upset and frustrated with the person. Like, hey, I'm upset.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would she do that? Like, my feelings are legit hurt that, I came prepared and she totally was not even prepared. She didn't even give it a day, So, yeah.
I saw him and went.
She looked upon him with his sword and his crown, and she said,
no story.
Not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Get someone else to do it.
Exactly. I mean, she looked at him right in his face. I mean, they had her, screen blurred. But she's like, I'm not gonna be able to do this with you, bro.
And I respect her for it. I can't lie to you.
I do too. They would
she's
have
a real one.
My screen too, because I'd have been cussing.
Yeah, listen, if you're not attracted, you're not attracted. You got what I'm saying to you? They don't look like you want. I can't do anything about that, but I understand. I respect the fact that we said this in previous seasons. We know that the person sees them on the altar and they don't want to see them, but they're gonna go through it because they're afraid of what will happen. But shout out to that particular person. She's like, I see what I see. I don't like what I see, and I got to go.
Well, maybe let's also say, we'll give her and him the benefit of the doubt too. Maybe it wasn't just him. Maybe it was she just really fully wasn't ready. And then when she saw all the theatrics, she was like, that plus this, yeah, it's just going to be a lot for me. Because I think this is something to us for men too, for us to take heed to. Is we have to be careful because we get a very little leeway to be too flamboyant and over the top, right? And I don't mean flamboyant in a non-heterosexual way. I'm just saying, like, just in this, I'm over the top. I need all of this attention. Me. I'm flouncing up here, and I got all this extra stuff to me. Like, it's unfortunately, the way that scales are tipped, most women just don't have the bandwidth to tolerate a lot of that from us. So I think, like, we just need to be conscious of this. Take me as I am. Just kind of tone it down. Like, what do you need all that attention for? Like, why you got a sword up there, bro? What are you wearing a sword in the crown for? Like, come on.
Yeah, the sword in the crown was mad. I can't lie to you. I don't know what the fuck he was doing that.
Yeah, come on. You got to give somebody a chance to get to know you before all of that foolishness. Right now, if they know you and they're able to, get to know your personality, and then they could be like, yeah, I see Sean's a little eccentric, but I can get past that because I see everything else. But first glance, you running around with a sword, dangly earrings, and a crown. Come on, bro.
Starter pack.
Yeah. It's like, what are we cosplaying?
So I hear it still. No, I definitely understand what you're saying, bro. And I definitely feel like with the gentleman, um I feel like the situation that he finds himself in is an interesting one because obviously you've been jilted, right? And he was dropping the most amazing bars on the table with the group, and I was like, oh, but what if he's lying? What if he doesn't agree, but he's just doing it just to I don't want to say publicity, but you know, doing it so he can look like the great guy the great guy. Oh, I've done this, and this. I, cared for her. Da, da, da. So you can form a narrative about how great you are. That's what I was just wondering. You know what I mean? I was wondering if he's forming a narrative in that respect, of how great he is, so that if it does come back around or if something happened new and he doesn't like it, you can kind of be like, hey, I'm the nice guy. You know, I don't know. It's just for me personally, I felt like he was being a nice guy on the couch trying to talk to the couples as if, like he was a saint and a martyr at the same time.
Listen, I think everybody has a shtick, right? And thank you. A lot of people are bringing clarity because clearly, we weren't paying that much attention, but she provided him with the sword and the crown. But I'm almost positive that she did not provide him that sword and that crown for him to be wearing that, more of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of joke for maybe afterwards. But I don't think she anticipated that he was going to wear that. That would be the first thing she would, when she laid eyes on him, she would see. Because I've never seen anybody do that.
No.
So look. But yeah, I do think that sometimes people play a role. And I would venture to say, and I mean, he's going to get another chance, Michael. Supposedly, that's the rumor. They're going to give him another chance with another bride. So we'll get to see how his personality does play out. But I do think like he definitely is a people pleaser, right? And just as he was mingling with the other couples, and they were like, like, oh, we wish you could come with us, and he was like, no, I could never intrude on your vacation. Oh, but
y'all gotta do what you gotta do.
So it's kind of like that's probably his persona. He likes to be the guy that's liked, and he gets something from that. Just like how Ashley from Make a Move, those compliments, it really is more about her than it is about what she cares about the other person. Because one, she wants to get those compliments back to her because she likes the way it feels to be complimented. So she does it, but she spins it to say it's because I like to uplift people, right? And I think it's the same thing with him. Like he goes above and beyond to be this nice person because he wants people, like that's the buy-in to be nice to him. That's the buy-in to accept him. That's the buy-in to, tolerate his antics, whatever they may be. And I think people also glaze over their own misgivings by glorifying, they just get so caught up in being a nice person, right? So, when it comes time, like you said, like when it comes time when the rubber meets the road and your not nice person shows up, the human part of you shows up, then you're like, well, I tried and I'm a nice person. And you hear those comments like, but what did I do? Like, I just tried to do this. And all I try to do is, the best of my intentions. Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's paved with a bunch of good intentions. So keep you and your good intentions away and do what people want you to do. Do what people ask you to do. You're going to always, and be true to who you are, right? You don't have to live up to a persona. You don't have to run around pleasing everybody,
You ain't telling lies, bro. You ain't telling lies. Bro, we need a benediction. We're coming to the hour, so we need a benediction. I said an hour, and it's an hour's going to be.
Well, damn, Cameron.
Okay, you're independent, but we're gonna handle this.
That's it. It's done. And just
It's
like
done.
that, we're done, folks.
We're done. Okay.
So listen, we made the best of this. I hope, we understand that there is jest in some of this, but there's also truth. So firstly, starting out, at the end of the day, look, it's not true that God won't give you more than you can bear. Sometimes he gives you more than you can bear. And in this situation, I think we are not God, and we need to give people options, right? So let's just be careful how we inflict and put people in certain situations, right? We need to give people the ability to say no without making them feel guilty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does deserve love, but everybody also deserves a choice. And that's the one thing God does give us is free will and choices and liberty. So in our relationships, we need to do the same with the people that we are supposed to love. Next, when it comes to our words and communication, we need to check in. We can't rapid fire hit people with a bunch of information, especially when we're just learning them and new to a relationship. Communication is a two-way street, right? Good communication is not just being able to verbalize, but also allowing someone to hear you and checking in for understanding. Also, at the end of the day, be careful of what you ask for, right? Be careful of what you ask for. If you ask for independence, you just might get that. Are you ready to take all that comes with independence? Those are the lessons that we need to learn. Also, when it comes to people being similar and us thinking two similar people can work great in a relationship, I don't know about that. Sometimes we need balance, and in most often, not just sometimes, in our relationships, we do need a little bit of balance. So when it comes to the couple that feels like they've got so much in common, sometimes those commonalities can also drive a wedge because we both want to do the same thing at the same time, right? So we need balance in our relationships. Back to you, Coach.
Appreciate it, Sean. Thank you so much for that. Listen, audience, has been amazing. We'll be back here next week again for another enthralling conversation around, Married at First Sight, episode 5. It's, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't feeling it, but I watched the episode and I was like, you know what, let me get into it a little bit, So I'll try and drop some reviews during the course of the week. Maybe I'll probably drop it on Monday, one of the reviews for you guys as well. So thank you again, Sean. Appreciate you. Audience members, been a pleasure. Time for me to go to my bed because I feel myself falling away. So when I start falling away, you don't want to see what happens. Okay. All right. It's like a drunken man at that point. Like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification uploads. Let me say this. No, this one, this wrong person. This the one. Yeah, I love my little meme here. You know what I mean? When things are not going quite right, just think of that young girl. Appreciate y'all. Stay locked, so loaded. We'll see you again.